Damascus and speak to Qutaiba Idlbi. He's the Director of American Affairs at the Syrian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Idlbi, thank you so much for your time. Give us a general understanding of the security situation and the challenge that insecurity presents to the new Syria.
Certainly. Thank you so much for having me. Of course, the situation in Sweida presents a new, unique security challenge for the future of Syria. Not to go back into the history of what happened in the last 10 days, but simply put, we are seeing a security threat centered around the attempt of a small group of former regime affiliates in Sweida province, who are trying to establish a mini-state, as your reporter mentioned, in the province in Sweida and expel Arab and other tribal components of the province. Of course, the challenge itself, this is a challenge not only for tribal communities of Sweida to the neighboring province of Daraa, but it is also a challenge for the majority Druze community in Sweida province itself, because the policies of Hikmat al-Hajri and the ex-IRGC Military Council of Sweida, the challenge that they are creating for the Druze community is that right now, with the rest of the Syrian community, they are linking the destiny of the Druze community with their own destiny. And this is where things get really dangerous, because the policies of Hikmat al-Hajri and the Military Council will only lead to more sectarian tension and fighting within different Syrian communities, as we have seen in the last 10 days.
Yes, but it also could be a larger national issue, because we also know that the Alawites along the Mediterranean coast have also complained about their feelings of insecurity. So this is an issue that the president has to address, having promised accountability and given guarantees to Syria's minorities that they will be safe under his leadership. Is one of the problems simply that there are still too many armed groups in Syria?
I think one of the first problems is that there are a lot of armed groups who were formerly affiliated with the Assad regime, who are still around. So I think this is the first security challenge, especially when we see Iran and Hezbollah are continuously being active across the country and trying to activate those groups and those networks. So this is the first political challenge, not only for the Syrian government, but for the Syrian people, to ensure that the country moves forward and to ensure that there is no reverse course on what the Syrian people has been able to achieve since December 8th until today. I think related to that, as you mentioned, of course, all Syrians want to see a clear rule of law, clear accountability for violations that were committed. As we've seen yesterday, the president announced that the investigating committee and the events that happened on the coast back in March has delivered its final reports, and that the president has asked this committee to announce those results to the public. And I think the Syrian government has chosen this time specifically to tell people that despite what is happening, accountability continues to be a priority. And while the government will continue to stand against projects that aim to divide the country, that aim to change Syria the way it is, the way it is destined to be, at the same time, the government is not going to hesitate to hold everyone, every violator of anyone's rights accountable under the rule of law.
Have you spoken to any of your counterparts in Washington, given your position at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, looking at relations with the United States? Considering Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, a couple of days ago told the world that he's worried about a resurgence of Daesh. We know that there are still Daesh terrorists being held in detention in Syria. Is the US Secretary of State right to be worried about that? Can Syria make sure that that resurgence doesn't happen?
Of course, we are speaking to our American counterparts on daily, if not on hourly basis, considering this new partnership that Syria has with the United States. Of course, the worries of Secretary Rubio are shared by many, There is no doubt, we all know that the country is fragile, that the country is entering a new era. And to make sure that the country moves forward, that requires cooperation and collaboration from all. It requires this self-discipline from all Syrians to make sure that the country is able to move forward. But it definitely requires cooperation with regional actors, with partners in the international community. Yes, to make sure not only that Iran and Hezbollah are not making a comeback into Syria, but also that ISIS does not make that comeback. So we're working diligently with our partners in the region to address any security threats that might emerge, because some actors like ISIS, like Iran or Hezbollah, are trying to utilize the situation, this infighting that is happening in Sweida, to try to break in and create more chaos.
Qutaiba Idlbi, thank you so much indeed for taking the time to talk to us. Really appreciate it.